Today we're doing a bit of a spotlight rather than an actual review because I actually haven't brought this particular piece out into the field to test, and the reason for that is it's brand new in MainIrishAirsoft. Have given a lend of it to me to have a look at. This is the APS ASR Guardian 111 or the ASR111. This review has been brought to you in part by MainIrishAirsoft. And it's a new breed of APS guns that have just hit the market or are about to hit the market. This is a bit of a preview because they're not actually on sale yet, but they will be shortly. Now, we've had a bit of a love affair with APS over the last couple of years. Started off with their 109 and their 103, and we looked at a number of their guns and we fell in love with them. You know, they're budget pieces, and therefore we do a like for like. If it's a budget piece, we try and keep the, the review objective, so that, a budget piece to us is anywhere between €1 and €200. Anything over that, then it's like mid-range up to about 350. And then from about 400 on, you're looking at high-end guns. So the budget guns that we looked at from APS, they had a number of features that some were good, some were not so great. But the great thing, and it is kudos to APS, Accuracy Pneumatic Shooting, it's kudos to them that they do actually, and they're one of the very few airsoft companies out there at the moment that listen to their target audience. They listen to the retailers and gun techs who are dealing with their guns on a daily basis, and they sort of listen to the feedback and then go away and either tweak out any problems that may be occurring, or they go for a whole redesign. Now, from the get-go, this is a whole redesign. Every part of this gun has been redesigned, and I have to say some of the features are really stunning. We'll start with the externals, right? We've got a whole new sort of style of flash hider coming down to a very different looking front rail system. Now, this gun is retailing around the 280, 290 mark, I'm not sure which, and I have to say it's sort of going head to head with the D-Boys, the G&Gs, and those sort of mid-range guns. And having done a little bit of a plink test on this, I can tell you the range is superb, as is the accuracy. It is a nice piece. So the only drawback will be, will the internals be up to scratch? Because let's face it, the externals of this gun do look rather nifty. M4s get very boring, and and everybody gets a bit pissed off with another M4 review. So we're going to kind of keep this short for you, as short as we can. What you see on this gun is what you get. Now, from the start, as I said, it's this very unique rail system. You also have these sort of rail attachment pieces on it so that you can put any extra real estate. It has a sort of a Magpul AFG wannabe. It's the APS's own design, and I have to say it's quite comfortable, so that when you're shouldering, that actually sits quite neatly into the hand, and it's a nice little implementation of the system. Moving back to the receiver, we're looking at all metal. Even the sort of little attention to detail, even on the railing system, it has all the numbers of the rail coming down. Everything is laser etched. Any engraving that's done, it's all laser etched on. And as I said, it comes right back down to a SOT mod stock, which has a 6-position SOT mod, and inside is where you put your battery, and we're using a 9.6 nickel metal hydride crane stock battery in here. Flipping it around, it has a QD sling point just here. It has another one back on the SOT mod stock, and it also has a rear butt plate here that allows you attach your sling. So you've got a number of configurations there allowing you get to the sling configuration that you need. On top, we have a rather dinky little implementation of an older system. We've all seen the Magpul pop-up sights that have been sort of very well used in airsoft recently, and these are the Rhino sights by APS. And what makes them slightly different is they actually have cold sights here for if you're in short range stuff. You actually don't need to pop up the sights because it gives you the iron sights just here and here. so you can actually get straight onto them. What's really nifty then, if you're going to slightly longer range, you can then just hit the switches and you're up to your pop-up sights. There is plenty of real estate at the top here for any optics that you might want to put on as well. So it's a rather dinky little system, and as I said, nice and crisp action on them. It looks really, really well. Externally, we're pretty much at it, except for one thing, the mag. The mag is a slightly different mag system, and it has a shorter mag, although it's a high cap, and it has a wheel on it, but it also has this little front guard piece on the mag, and that's so ergonomically, as you're gripping it, you can actually get your little pinky in there, and it just sits much, much more comfortable. That said, I'm not really mad about it, because when you're trying to wind, it gets in the way of a full wind, in my opinion, and that's where my love affair with that little system ends. But what I will say is, one of the big problems with the previous APS guns that we've seen on the market was the magwell was just too big, and no matter what mag you used, there was a huge amount of wobble. But in this, they've tightened it right up, they've redesigned the magwell and eradicated that problem. I've put in a P-mag, I've put in a G&G high cap, and it does not shift, nice and solid, as is the stock. No wobble there. Externally, APS haven't failed to deliver, because they do make really good externals. Most gun techs will tell you, though, it's the internals that have let them down over the past versions of gearbox. But what I can tell you is, if you bear with me, is that this whole new system has been completely reworked internally. Now, you have to understand something. I am not a gun tech, never professed to be, and I barely know my way around the insides of a gun. But first and foremost is the top receiver houses here the hop unit. Now the hop unit has been reworked, and they've installed a full stainless steel 604 barrel. Now that in itself is fantastic, because it negates you having to put in a tight bore. Stainless steel does not wobble or vibrate when BBs are rolling down it. And an old friend of mine, Dave Barry, once told me it didn't really matter whether it was a 602 or a 608. It all depended on what the metal was used in the actual making of the barrel. If there was any vibration or flexing under load, then that's what caused it to send BBs flying and not be that accurate with the grouping. So this does not flex, it is rock solid and doesn't move. Now the other great thing is the hop unit. The hop system here is now being made in full metal, which again, kudos to them, because they used to be in plastic. APS have realised that having a full metal hop unit is going to be more advantageous. Longevity wise, it's going to last a little bit longer. I'm just going to dump these, hang on a second. Internally, we've got a few changes going on. Now, up to this point, the gearbox was always a very basic gearbox. The first version had plastic bushings. Now, yes, they were of that sort of very high specialized ABS plastic, and they were able to take the strain and pressure of everything. But anybody seeing plastic in the gearbox, you start to get a bit worried. Now, that said, most people who use the APS guns weren't let down at all, ever, with the plastic inside the gearbox. So that was a plus for them. But what's different about this gearbox to the next version on, where they took out all the plastic and made everything metal, where they've still retained the 8mm bushings and they're still made of brass. That is my only negative I can find on this whole gearbox, because the whole gearbox is made of stainless steel. They've implemented the electric blowback that is on this system in a different manner. Now, I'm not really sure how it works, but Chris has told me and assured me that the new system that they have on this is way better than the old system, and he's quite a fan of it. The internal gears, Chris has taken it apart, had a look, and he thinks they're fine. There's no problems with them. For the money that you're paying, they're very good, well machined. It's well shimmed, it's well oiled and well greased, so it's not overly done. Another nice feature is they've changed out the piston, and they've changed out the cylinder to a whole new setup. And the cylinder head itself is actually made of stainless steel and is ported via here, and that's kind of bog standard for the M4 version of the gearbox. Now, the fact that it's in stainless steel means that it cannot be drilled to be downgraded. The only way you can downgrade this particular model is to use a spring change. The great thing about the spring change in this model is that you actually have to take the whole gearbox out, but there is a quick change spring here at the back if you are in any way handy and you're changing jurisdiction. You don't have to actually pop open the hood of the gearbox to get to the spring. You can do a quick change. If you know what you're doing, it's relatively quick and painless. They have increased the motor strength. They've changed out the motor. They've put new wiring into the back here, much stronger wiring and much longer wiring, so you don't run into problems with you know, short wires and fiddly batteries. It just makes life a lot more simple. And overall, as I say, the gearbox has been reworked to within an inch of its life, and it's much more upmarket in its design. So again, this is what I love about APS. They do listen to what's going on, they do listen to their target audience, and they do go away and try and improve on something if it's not working, or redesign it altogether. So that's pretty much this gun. It's a very stunning looking piece. It's got great range, good accuracy, good grouping, and as I said, they've reworked the internals completely. They've put in stainless barrel, new hop unit, all metal, changed the gearbox completely, changed the electric blowback. In fact, there's not really much left that resembles the old APS system. So as I said, great, kudos to the lads at APS, and MainIrishAirsoft are going to have these in for Christmas, I believe, and that's why they want me to get this review out, or this spotlight out, as quickly as they can, so you all can get your grubby little hands on it. So if you're in the market for something that is a little bit more left of field, a little bit more, all right, it's on the M4 style of things, but you want something that looks a little bit different, then definitely check out the APS ASR111 Guardian. It really is a nice piece of kit. Hopefully we'll be able to come down the line, get maybe a few more reviews of longevity and how these actually work out in field. When a few guys start purchasing them and using them, we'll get a bit more feedback. So we look forward to seeing you soon enough in the next videos, and this has been Oddie's Airsoft.